Hello, I've got my freshly installed copy of Home Designer Interiors 2019 open. I've already drawn a little test plan here and put in some cabinets. By the way, I did the corner cabinet by just taking the base tool and putting my cursor dead in the corner like that, and then left click. That creates a corner type base cabinet. It's going to widen this one to fill in the gap. And then I created a camera view here of the results. That's what it looks like isometrically. Now, this software runs on settings, and by default there's a grid turned on, which I never use. So I'm going to go to the view menu and turn off the reference grid. See, now those crosshatches are gone. Temporary dimensions I like to use. That's when you click on something, an automatic dimension is, in this case, these were automatically generated dimensions. Anyway, to address your question, let's go back to this view here. And I'm going to open the dialog box for that corner cabinet. And on the general tab, here's inputs for backsplash, and it's set to 0 by default. And if I set it to 18 inches, then it'll create a backsplash. 18 inches tall, half an inch thick. I probably set that to 3/8. So I was going to be exact about it and get rid of the D. If you don't get rid of the D, which stands for default, then it'll revert to whatever it's been set to default. So there's the backsplash. And each, I'm shift selecting these other cabinets, holding the shift key down and left clicking on them. And then, okay, in interiors that doesn't work. So you have to do these one at a time. In some of the other applications, you can shift select cabinets and do a bunch of them at a time, but not interiors. So we'll set that to 18. And then that's what it does. The software does what it's either preset to do or what you tell it to do through manual settings. I don't think some of the other guys mentioned a backsplash tool. And if that exists in interiors, it would be by clicking on this icon here, and it doesn't have that capability. Some of the more expensive applications have that tool, and we'll go over here to build and see if it's over here under the build menu. Okay, there's cabinet. So if the command would exist, it would exist here. Or a custom backsplash or something like that. Well, what else can be done? So I'm going to take this cabinet and tell it to be 6 inches tall, the backsplash. So in interiors, if you're getting a tall backsplash, it's because it's set to a tall value in the dialog box. Set it down to 6. And 6. So it does what it's ever is preset to do, excuse me, or what you set manually in the dialog box per cabinet object. And the same thing applies to upper cabinets. Let's go over to upper cabinet tools. And again, I'm going to stick my cursor right in the corner, and that creates a corner type upper cabinet. And you can see that there's no backsplash coming from these cabinets. And that's because by default out of the box, I just installed this software, so this is how it is from the factory. And right there's a checkbox under backsplash in the cabinet specification dialog to base below, and it'll reach from itself to the cabinet below. This cabinet is creating a 6-inch, or this one's actually is creating none because it's set to none. We'll set it to 6. And then we'll do this corner cabinet. But you get the idea, and this is how this is pre-programmed to work in interiors. So if you're getting odd backsplash, it's coming from the dialog box of an adjacent cabinet. Like I can take this cabinet and I'm going to set the backsplash to 96 inches. And it goes all the way to the ceiling and perhaps beyond. So it's always settings that cause what you're getting, whether you want it or not, is another matter. But when you see something that's non-optimum, you just open the dialog box and look. I'll set this to 48. So the software just does what it's told. And occasionally it'll shortfall and not do what it's told, but 99.9% of the time it does exactly what it's set to do. And that's your main stable datum that you should remember in terms of understanding how that software works and how you work with it. Okay, I think this is probably enough just on this section here, but when I start a new plan, the first thing I do before I draw a wall or place cabinets or anything is I go over here to edit default settings, and all of these settings here can be preset to what you know about your client. You know, if your client likes cabinets with a certain species on it, then I would set it that way in material settings in base cabinet defaults. And then there's a separate set of defaults for upper cabinets and full height cabinets. Also, over here to door drawer. See, this you can't really see it all that well because I got this set to standard render display. But you can change the type of doors that all of your cabinets have a tendency to have. Slab doors, and there's a setting here for drawer fronts, and there's more choices in the library. Click on that. Go to architectural. See, cabinet doors. Because I'm coming from a cabinet, the software is pre-programmed to offer you cabinet type selections. Let's look at doors. So there's a bunch of doors here that you can pick from and preset your cabinets to have this proclivity for a particular look. At that one, see, it's kind of a glass door with a diamond pattern, and there's different things that you can set, and that's what the software will then do. If you want simple glass fronts, then you set it to framed and then check glass door. Then you get a glass panel in the cabinet. So everything, this software pretty much just does what you tell it to do, and it doesn't do anything else 99.9% of the time. So it behooves you to find out what all of these settings actually do by practice, looking at them each, like what kind of text you have, for instance, how large the characters are, 6-inch, and the scale of the plan view is in real world scale. This is that's actually 15 feet and 3 inches. It's not scaled down. You use scaling to fit this kind of thing on to paper when you print to it. But in the virtual environment of the software, everything's real world scale. This cabinet here is 3 foot by 3 foot. This one's 24 inches deep. And I don't remember how, oh, must be 39 inches wide. Let's see. Let's open the dialog. Yeah, 39 inches wide, see? That's why the label says B39. This is 24 wide, 24 wide, 24 wide, and so forth. It's all pretty straightforward. And you can learn all these things by trial and error. Just click on an object, open its dialog box, and then if you find something in the dialog box that you don't understand, we'll look it up and get it understood. I would recommend going through the tabs and looking at each one, and where you don't know exactly what it means, we'll change it and then see what the change. See, that changed the type of pull on the cabinet. Horizontal, vertical. That's kind of goofy looking, but you get the idea. That's the current default settings for a base cabinet. Okay, that's the end of the tutorial. I just thought this might help you out in understanding why the backslash is doing what it's doing, and also generally how to control this software to get the exact desired result that you need and want. Thanks for watching. I hope this does help.